Hey everyone, today I'm going to be making a chocolate sourdough loaf. So I'm going to give you a little bit of the history on it. So it doesn't date back to the Middle Ages like a lot of the classic French loaves, but its roots are deeply tied to the French artisan baking renaissance of the late 20th century. After World War II, French bakers began reviving traditional sourdough methods that had nearly disappeared during the industrial bread boom in the early 1900s, which is so crazy to me. I really couldn't believe that they would get rid of leavening things. I believe they probably thought that it was just easier to do yeasted dough, which, don't get me wrong, definitely sometimes it is. But by the 1970s and 80s, a new generation of boulangers embraced slow fermentation again, and they were valuing the flavor, texture, and craftsmanship over the speed of the bread. And around the same time, French chocolatiers began experimenting with darker, high-quality cacao sourced from Africa and South America. It was only a matter of time before these two crafts, breads and chocolate, met in the same oven. So the earliest known versions of the chocolate sourdough appeared in Parisian bakeries and also in the Loire Valley, where bakers were beginning to fold dark chunks of chocolate or cacao powder into their naturally leavened bread doughs. And that, resulted in something so unique. It wasn't like a dessert bread, but a rustic, mildly sweet loaf with deep cocoa notes and a tangy finish from the leaven. It became a favorite for breakfast and like the cafe culture, often served with toasted butter, fresh berries, or a dusting of powdered sugar. So it was obviously a perfect pairing for a cafe latte. So today, the chocolate sourdough is viewed as a symbol of like a French artisan creativity, taking the ancient technique of sourdough fermentation and giving it a modern twist. Bakeries from Paris to Provence sell versions with chocolate chips, hazelnuts, orange, and some of the sea salt flakes. So I just love how it bridges the gap between like a bread and a pastry, proving again that simple ingredients, flour, water, cocoa, and some sourdough can create something really extraordinary. So when we lived in France, there was a really high-end bakery. We lived like an hour away from the suburb of Lille, which is the third biggest town or city in France. So there was this high-end boulangerie that would do this bread only a few times a year. So people would wait forever in really long lines to be able to have this bread. So we would go, my friend lived right downtown, so she honestly would go more than me and wait in the line so we could have it. So it was a really special treat. It was the first time I had ever experienced it or had it. And for us, it's just something, I actually only do it a couple times a year as well. My daughter, she likes to have it for her birthday. But anyways, it has a very unique flavor. It's not for everybody. Honestly, my middle daughter is not a fan unless it's completely loaded with butter. But give it a try. Let me know what you guys think. The recipe I use, I've done it quite a few times and it comes out perfect every single time. You can incorporate fresh milled wheat into it, which I do for all of my other sourdough loaves, but I will say it gives it such a dense texture that for our family, it's just not quite as enjoyable. Well, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you give it a try. If you do, I'd love to hear about it. And I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you soon. And please like and subscribe to my channel.